gang, how's it going? Today we are taking a look at Transformers Energon Cliffjumper. Now, Cliffjumper's alt mode here is that of a very large dune buggy. I mean, this figure is pretty darn big, and it does look like I might have him mistransformed a bit, and that's one of the weird things about this figure. He's got a bunch of different configurations with these back wheels. Overall, I do like the vehicle mode, even if it is a little bit weird. He has missile launchers here in the front that can move up and down. I do have the missiles, I'm just not including them in the review because the figure with the missiles looks really stupid. You can also remove these missile launchers from the front of the vehicle. Just got to split the front open and pop the missile launchers apart. And there you can have the figure displayed without the missile launchers, though I do think he is missing something. He is a little bit, as I said, oddly proportioned in this mode. He does come with lights and sounds, but my figure's lights and sounds have never worked. Even out of the box, they don't work at all, which is a shame, because you know how much I love lights and sounds. Cliffjumper's transformation into robot mode is rather complex and a little bit weird. To start off with, we're going to take the wheels and push them straight back along the backs of the figure like that. Take the front and kind of lift it up, and the vehicle mode has this is the weakest part of the vehicle mode. It's just the fact that this doesn't peg into the legs here. So we can split those open and fold up the bumpers like that, and then split it open and flip out the figure's legs. And I think I've already screwed up. Come on. Because you are... There we go. And, yep, I did not extend the bumpers correctly. Sorry about that. My fault. So, flip those out. Bring out the knees. Bring them down and around. Flip things around. Just get them situated. Then take the back here, and I like to fold the wheels all the way back and flip down the back of the vehicle mode, and then these will flip back up and peg into these pegs out here, like so, like that. So now we've got most of the figure transformed. The next thing we're going to do is take these bits that were at the top of the vehicle mode's engine and fold them down to give him some really big heels. Then take the canopy and split it open, fold up his massive 80s style shoulder pads, then flip out the fists on his arms. Come on, you know you want to. Come on. And fold down his spoiler, fold out the wings, and there we go. Cliffjumper in robot mode is actually pretty cool looking. He's not a bad robot mode at all. I love the little Beachcomber-esque goggles, who the blue and white repaint of him, or the Power Links version of this figure, is called Beachcomber. Overall, I like the look of the figure. I think the coloring is cool. I think the yellow with the green and the brown work really well. It's not exactly Cliffjumper color schemes, but hey, what are you gonna do? Make your own figure, maybe. Overall, posability-wise, he's not great. He's got some problems posing on with this guy. Yeah. Arm, ratchet in the shoulder, then a ball joint in the elbow, but that ball joint is severely limited. I mean, that ball joint is not going to allow much in the way of back and forth movement and in and out. Fists do not rotate. No torso articulation. Head does swivel. Lots of ratcheting in the legs and the knees, but that's because of the gimmick and the transformation. Feet, he has pegs on underneath his toes, so just be wary of that. Overall, not a bad robot mode, but yeah, for the color scheme, this isn't Cliffjumper. Like any good Autobot from the Transformers Energon series, he can merge in pants and shirt mode. So we're going to start off with the shirt mode for this guy. First off, just fold up the fists and be careful not to pinch your fingers, because believe me, that hurts. Fold the shoulder pads over them. Take the spoiler that is his chest and fold that down. Bring the arms in like you're going to turn in buggy mode, and then point them directly outwards. And they feel like they want to peg into place up here, but they really don't. They just kind of sit there. Then take the crotch area of the legs and split them apart, folding them as far up as they will go. Because what you're going to do is then use these sections as the shoulders, and they are not going the way I want them to go. And that's because I did this completely backwards. I apologize. We have to unpeg the legs while flipping up the rear of the vehicle. So then we get this, and then when we do that, we can spin it around and then fold them back up to form the shoulders. I apologize, guys, I completely missed that. And then we just kind of get everything situated so that he has some very large arms. So he is now ready to power links. Like so many of his other Autobot brothers of this size class, he looks absolutely ridiculous as a shirt mode. Now, there are other figures that do look okay as shirt mode, but unfortunately Cliffjumper has all of this massive bulk coming off of his arms in this mode. You can mitigate it a little bit by bringing those bits in, but he still has giant tires and bits of his car mode hanging off, and that's a shame because I think, other than the fact that his arms have a lot of kibble, he doesn't look too bad as a shirt mode. It's not awful. And believe me, for Energon Power Links figures, not awful is a high compliment. Partially returning Cliffjumper back to robot mode, we're going to go and give him his pants mode now. As you can see, I have already folded up his robot arms, his normal robot arms, into his shoulder pads. So next thing we're going to do is take the rear of the vehicle mode and fold that up over his head, and then take the entire section at his hips and disconnect it and fold them back and around. And then we'll take the little shoulder pad bits and fold them so that they're pointing back. And he's going to have a huge amount of junk in his trunk. So for the legs, we'll then flip them out again, another bit at the ankles like we did with, what's his name, Ironhide. Spin them around and then fold out his combined shirt mode fists for heels, to give him really big heels. Because trust me, with this much junk in its trunk, he needs it. So now what we can also do is, you see how these are pointing back? You can twist the legs around and futz with them so that they're pointing forward. That will actually give you a little bit more stability. So we'll do that on the other leg. You do not have to do this. But I have found over the years that with the, whoops, I just turned it the wrong way. With the pin, the bigger part of the pin in his ratcheting hip pointing forward, and these little bits, the little wedge here pointing forward, that actually adds a little bit more stability. I'm not sure exactly why, but I think it does. So we'll just make sure that everything is out of the way for Ironhide to come on and become the shirt. So here we have Ironhide and Cliffjumper in shirt pant mode. And to be honest, it's not much better. I mean, as I said earlier, it just, yeah, things don't go so well with these Energon figures. They just don't look right all the time. I mean, yeah, this is just a mess back here, so let's not look back there. Don't look behind the curtain. Overall, Cliffjumper is not a bad figure. In fact, I kind of like Cliffjumper, but his shirt and pants mode are both not great. But his robot mode's okay, and I genuinely like the vehicle mode. So guys, if you can find this figure for like $4 or $5 at a yard sale, I'd say he's worth putting into your collection just from the silliness factor. Now, if you can find his repaint, his blue and white repaint dubbed Beachcomber, I think that is a much better looking figure just because of the blue and white. I'm just partial to blue and white in Transformers. But again, Cliffjumper is not a bad figure, just unfortunately he suffers from the entire gimmick of the line.